the Parker family finally moved into their new home in the tranquil suburbs of Pine Grove after what felt like a decade in the big city, wandering around the metaphorical walls of Jericho. Their quaint two-story house sat proudly in a picturesque neighborhood, lined with tidy lawns and homes that radiated community pride and serenity. This was to be their forever home, a place to raise their 4 children in peace and stability. However, the reality of their new life began to unravel shortly after they moved in. Next door, the rented house stood in stark contrast to the rest of the immaculate neighborhood. Its yard was a jungle of unkempt grass and wild weeds, and the exterior of the house showed signs of neglect. The tenants, a single-parent mother led by Miss Cooper, quickly became the talk of the town, and not for good reasons. Miss Cooper, a boisterous woman with a penchant for loud arguments that could be heard down the street, had a revolving door of troubles. She often left her children, 3 in varying stages of youth, to fend for themselves, leading to them roaming the streets at all hours. The eldest, a girl in middle school, was frequently seen loitering with different boys, stirring whispers of concern among the neighbors. But it was the family's unruly dog that tipped the scales. The animal had taken a liking to the Parker's yard, particularly treating it as his personal restroom, much to the chagrin of Mr. and Mrs. Parker. Polite at first, the Parkers approached Miss Cooper about the canine issue, hoping for a neighborly resolution. Mr. Parker, attempting diplomacy, accidentally quoted Shakespeare, asking, "Can we not tame this savage beast?" Instead, they were met with a barrage of curses and expletives from Miss Cooper, who shouted from her doorway, making any rational conversation impossible. Frustrated yet determined to maintain their dignity, the Parkers turned to prayer, hoping for a peaceful solution to their predicament. Their prayers seemed answered when Miss Cooper disappeared for weeks. The revelation came so divinely that Mr. Parker almost choked on his breakfast while watching the news one morning when he saw Miss Cooper's mug shot on the screen for charges unknown to them. The neighborhood breathed a sigh of relief, albeit temporarily. Upon her return, nothing changed. The children's behavior grew more disruptive, and the dog's visits became more frequent. Desperate, the Parkers considered selling their dream home, a thought that filled them with sadness. Then, one fateful night, flashing lights bathed the street. Police cars pulled up to Miss Cooper's home, and after a loud confrontation filled with shouting and chaos, Miss Cooper was taken away in handcuffs. The next day, the house next door was eerily quiet. The Parkers learned that Miss Cooper would not be returning, and the house was soon to be put back on the market. In the following weeks, the atmosphere in the neighborhood changed. The grass next door was cut, the house cleaned, and soon a new family moved in, quiet, friendly, and eager to be part of the community. During this turmoil, the Parker's cat, Whiskers, had become a minor celebrity for his determined efforts to reclaim his domain, often seen strategizing in the living room window or attempting stealthy patrols that ended in comedic standoffs with the neighboring dog. The Parkers finally felt at peace in their new home, grateful for the calm after the storm. They realized that while the journey had been rough, their resolve and faith had carried them through, reinforcing their belief in the power of patience and prayer. Their home once again felt like the sanctuary they had dreamed it would be, a true haven amidst the chaos of life. This story captures not only the stark contrast between the ideal and the reality often found in suburban life, but also the humor in everyday adversities. Through the Parker family's experience, you explore themes of community, disruption, and resilience, punctuated with moments of lighthearted relief that underscore the absurdity and joy of suburban living.